Leasing Avenues is meeting with Kirk Phillips today. He is the president and CEO of Wintrust Commercial Finance. Uh, Kirk's got an interesting story to tell that I think everybody's going to benefit from. But I think we'll just start. I think everybody knows who Wintrust is, but I think we'll start where we try to always start, and that is, Kirk, tell us a little bit how your path led to getting into the equipment leasing business. And then after that, we'll kind of get deeper into Wintrust and the whole Wintrust story. Go for it.
Sure, Bob. Well, thank you for the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation. So, like many others, I didn't go to college to become a equipment leasing guy. I actually started out college as a forestry major and got through my junior year and kind of woke up and realized that there weren't too many jobs in forestry, and had gotten married, and my wife liked to eat and live in nice places, so I figured I better do something different. So I switched to finance and ended up getting a business degree and a master's there. And when I graduated, that was in the mid 80s. And if you'll think back to that time frame, we had just had a change in the tax code. We had the S&L crisis. We had the collapse of real estate. We had the collapse of oil and gas. And here I was with a brand new MBA wanting to go into international banking and finance. And you can imagine what the job market looked like. It was non-existent.
I remember it well.
And especially for a boy from West Texas, graduating from a school in East Texas. So I started looking around and talking to people and was advised that, right now the government is hiring, and the OCC become a bank examiner and you'll learn a lot. And after a few years, with that experience, a lot of banks will want to pick you up, right, because you'll see, quite a bit in a very short time. And so I said, okay. And sure enough, went to work as a national bank examiner for the control of the currency. And it was a great experience. I mean, we could sit down and have a beer and I could tell you unbelievable stories about what went on in that time frame in the banking industry. But so it was very, very interesting, and I learned a lot about banking. And one of the things I learned about was how deals came apart, because it's, every bank we went into, there were problems. At that time, I don't even remember going into a bank at that time that we didn't have a problem. And so I was involved in a lot of closures and things like that. So it's a great experience. A couple of things I learned from that was, number one, I didn't see myself as a long-term government employee. If you've never worked for the government, you might not understand that. But and I was approaching, after being there, 2 years, that was leading into 3 years because the banking wasn't reviving. And they were, at that point, I needed to start getting serious about sitting for what's called a commission exam to become a commission bank examiner. And that's like a CPA or a bar exam. It's a year, 2 years out of your life. And I was like, I'm not committed to this. The second thing I figured out from that is I never wanted to go to work for a bank because I didn't want to deal with people like me. And so I started looking around, and I saw an ad in the paper. This was back before the internet and all those sorts of things. And I saw an ad in the paper for a financial analyst for a company called ITT Commercial Finance up here in Plano. And so anyway, I didn't even know they had a commercial. I mean, I knew ITT, the telecommunications, but they were one of the last of the 50s conglomerates. And so I put in a resume, and Dan Fluharty, who many of you know, is actually the guy that responded. And it was like at 8 o'clock one night, I get a phone call from Dan saying, hey, I got your resume, and asked a few questions. And he said, we'd like to bring you in for an interview. And so I thought, great, so we set it up. But like I said, ITT, commercial, who are they? Mm-hmm. Again, we didn't have the internet. And so Dan really likes to tell this story. I mean, I left after that phone call. I hung up and I went, okay, who is this? And why is he calling me at 8 o'clock at night for an interview? So I actually got in my car that night and drove to the address and was peering through the window to actually make sure that there was a company there called ITT Commercial Finance. And so anyway, so ended up going in for the interview and getting the job. And so that was the beginning of my exposure to the equipment finance and leasing business.